And it's possible that the UI/UX designers and product managers could be the new developers, and which is also happening in many cases. Many product developers are deciding to become AI first product builders, and so are some UI/UX designers deciding to become product builders. But the existing developers, if they want to continue building web application, mobile applications, they all will also will need to step up and have this understanding of product sense and good taste, because otherwise they will not be able to compete with the new people who are getting into the industry.
So, Vishal, you obviously build products and services, and you work with software developers every day. So, what is the change that you're seeing in how developers are using and building software right now compared to 3 years ago?
Yeah, the way the software is being built at the moment is in a way completely different from how it used to be before. The change may be already reflected in some of the companies, and some of the companies might be a little behind in adopting newer ways. If there are people in software industry who are saying that, oh, hardly anything has changed, we have been using AI, but most of it is still done by the programmers, then in that case they might be using AI workflows which are not end-to-end AI optimized. They are somewhat AI optimized, right? They may be using Copilot, in GitHub Copilot or something like that. But there are companies who are at the cutting edge of adopting whatever is the latest and greatest out there. And in those companies, what would have taken weeks to build is getting built within days. And most of it is done by just prompt writing, and majority of the code is being written by the AI model itself. There used to be a time when most of the code needed to be reviewed or tweaked to get it working, because it would kind of do it 99%, but some things would still be broken, and it would take quite a long time to fix it. But the fixing part would still be worthwhile, because what it would have done would have been such large amount of work. So people were okay with fixing, but we have now gotten to a point with some of the models, especially um, Claude with Opus, or the new one that I have come up with, where most of the time fixing is not required, and it just works. You just give it a prompt. As long as you're very clear about it, it will just build that functionality for you as you intend it to do. So the question comes, if it is just the prompt writing, right? So what is the role of the programmer if you're just writing the prompts? Because the prompts could have been written by somebody else as well. And it's actually a very good question, and which is a question that managers, directors, VPs, programmers, senior people in the company, they all have been pondering about, is that does the programmer, the developer, classical developer still is he still the same, is his skills still needed to develop products, right? So there are still it's still in deciding phase on what it'll eventually turn out to be. The ones who are adapting to this change are the ones who are going to do quite well. There are developers who um, are not reluctant to adopt this change. They are, instead of writing code, they're using multiple AI agents or a single AI agent. They're giving clear prompts. They're promoting their work, optimizing their work. They're getting a lot done. And if you ask them, how has this change been for you? They're like, oh, it's quite exciting. I'm able to get so much done, and it's kind of fun to see the product right there within sometimes minutes, or feature within minutes, which would have taken days. It's addictive. But some of them are showing hesitation and reluctance to adopt it, because they think of it as competition. But the genie is out of the box, cat is out of the bag. It cannot be put back now. So the more reluctance we show it, the more detrimental it's going to be for our careers. If I'm talking as if I was a developer. But there are lots of developers who are looking at it in that way, where they feel like, oh, I am wishful that it just goes away, and how important I used to be in the past, where I used to do all this algorithmic thinking by myself. I just want to go back to that same world again. Unfortunately, when new technology comes, the world doesn't go back to how it used to be before. And this idea of moratorium on AI, and somehow the AI is going to be stopped and then we're going to go back, not going to happen, right? Um, so I mean, Suchin can add more, but for this, so as far as we are concerned in our organization, most of the code is written by writing prompts. Occasionally, there are some issues that are fixed by people who have the expertise. But would I need every software builder in the company to be that person who can fix things when they are broken? As of today, it was true a couple of months ago, but not true as of today. Because even if I have small percentage of individuals who can fix it, and have larger number of them who cannot fix it, who can just write the prompts, we will still be okay, because those issues do not happen very often, and even a small number of them who will be there to lend hand if there is a need to help, they can address the issues of everybody, if it comes to that.
As you mentioned, I think we've seen the progress at close quarters, from the time where we were, getting auto completed snippets to then for generations, but with flaws in them. And then I think now we are at that point where, to a large extent, whatever is generated does work. Now, and, if you keep an eye on the direction of its thought process and guide it a little bit, you can get even stronger outputs. But just by itself, with the freedom in terms, it does significantly well, and the change in the last few months has been quite drastic. What we also noticed was, it's really exciting when you have an idea and you're able to get a prototype up and running in a very short amount of time. That's very exciting and rewarding for someone who's programming, or even a beginner who's trying to come up with something. Then there is requirement at least of knowledge to take that further and make it such that it's suitable for scale and also for security. And this may not necessarily require you to jump in and work with the code, but at least a certain awareness will help you know that things are being built the way they're supposed to be. And like Vishal said, I think it has become even more important for people to be able to think of things around just the bare code that they write, the design, the user's experience of it, the security considerations, the scalability considerations, all of these, and then the testing of it, all of these become possible for a single developer to work on. And so it's important that they are knowledgeable about this. It may not be that they need to get down and write the code, because the models are doing quite well right now, but being aware of these knowledge, these concepts will also help them, scale the product better.
Yeah, I would like to add on this here, because this is a very important change from how the product is going to be built or is being built already in companies that have adopted newer ways of building it. Traditional software development, like the build cycle, would typically start with gathering requirements from the customer, which would be someone like a business analyst who would do it. It would be assigned to a product manager who would understand the requirements of the customer. It would then go to UI UX designers who would design user interfaces, and the requirements from with the help of a product manager and the UI UX designers would then go to the developers, and they would be given discrete, like small work packages to work on from this larger project, and they would work on those small little work package by work package. And anytime there was any change, product manager, UI UX designer, they will all be involved. So the developer had to look at only the requirements of what they were asked to do, just maybe one screen, one feature, a couple of steps. They didn't need to think about the big picture. Because that's traditionally what majority of the code was built that way. But considering that feature that used to take, say, 5 or 6 days to build can be built in a matter of 15 minutes, now it's a completely different ballgame. You're not going to every 15 minutes engage everybody and say, let's get together in a room, let's figure out what the next step's going to be, right? So it's not going to be realistic. So now, considering the bar to get good is supported by AI, you don't need so many experts, right? You can have a good amount of understanding of building the whole product, and with the help of AI, with AI serving as an expert, you might be able to put the whole thing together yourself. So instead of having all of these people, you might be able to, with good product sense and good taste, put it all together by yourself. And what do you call that person? Would that be a developer, a UI UX person, a product manager, or what have you? I mean, so far, most of the time, most of the companies, whoever was the developer is now has gotten into this role. I would not call that role a developer only. I would say an AI first product builder, because he or she is building the product end to end, right? When we think about this AI first product builder, they will work more like someone working in a studio. So more like a sculptor, or more like an artist, like a painter. So how does the painter start working on his or her painting? They will start off with some idea, right, in their head, and they will start putting it all together. But as they are painting, they will realize it would be nice if I put this green petal here, right? If I give it some shadow here, if I put some flower in this color here. They are continuously improving it based on how it looks, and let me take a new decision and iteratively get to the point where I feel like it's now done, right? So the same kind of iterative process is being done by good AI first product builders as well. They'll start off with some idea, they'll share it with AI, and the first step could be to work with something like Claude Code. The Claude Code is going to put together, first pass design for what you want to do, and then once you saw what Claude Code designed, then you can make further edits to it by giving subsequent prompts, or you can annotate the parts where you want the changes to be made, and it will make those changes for you. And how does this person come up with those changes? Is not by going to the UI UX designer again, is by understanding what the end user would want, understanding how each feature or how each user experience or how the user interface can be further improved from what it is right now, and articulating it, just like I said, like a sculptor or a painter would do. They would just have that idea. Here you're articulating, there you would just act on your painting. Here you're articulating to the AI and and based on that, it's continually making those edits and making it better, right? And then once you have the user interface done, it's not only going to design the interface, it's going to code the interface as well. Then you can take it from Claude Design, which is what you would have started with first. You can take it from Claude Design into Claude Code, which it has a feature for built in. And once you go to Claude Code, it will build your whole application end to end, including your API implementations, your backend code, database work. Everything will be done in Claude Code. And here I'm talking about the full stack web application. In other types of work, it may be a little different, but from a high-end standpoint of how the work is being automated by AI, for the most part, kind of stays the same. So now, instead of it becoming many people working together to create a product, now we're talking about one product builder who's, with the help of AI, building something end to end. So earlier, the product builder did not need to have a great taste, right? Because the taste and all that was figured out by the product manager. You did not really need to have great taste, because maybe the UI UX designer would figure that out. Or you did not need to have good product sense, because the UI UX designer and the product manager would figure it out. Now consider if you are working more like somebody working in a studio where you're putting something together end to end, who will be able to put together a best product? It'll be someone who has great product sense. So that's why for a modern builder, the product sense becomes really important. It may be even more important than the coding skill, right? Because if you don't have great product sense, you will not be able to come up with something that is great to use. If you don't have great coding skill, but if you get stuck, your AI gets stuck, you can still go to someone and, hey, can you fix this bug for me? But if your approach to create something itself is not great, that whoever you reach out to, they will not be able to recreate your whole product, right? It's probably going to be too late by then they might as well just redo the whole thing themselves. So the new modern skills that people have to look out for are great product sense and great taste. And these are difficult things to train, and everybody's struggling on to figure out how do they train their staff on what a good taste is, right? And many people think that taste cannot be taught, because when we used to hire designers, that you would not train the designers, you would just figure out who's good at design and you would hire those people, right? But somehow we figured out how to train people on how to write code. And we did not make that judgment on them that, oh, he just naturally is not able to write code, because nobody's naturally writing code. Unless people don't learn how to write code, they don't naturally write code. But many people who had no inclination of writing code, which was nobody pretty much had inclination to write code, because that's not a natural thing, right? So we taught them how to write code for something simple. Then we give them something a little more difficult to do, then a little more difficult to do. Then anybody who stuck with it, usually after doing it many times, they got the hang for it, right? They figured out, their brain connected the dots, and they figured out, oh, this is a problem, this is an approach I should need to use. Your brain starts to pattern match on its own once you do something many times. And even if you are given a new problem which you have not done before, because of that pattern matching it has figured out based on the existing work it has done, it is able to work on a new thing as well, which it hasn't done before. So something similar needs to be done for good taste and good product sense as well, because if we keep continually coaching someone on what is good, what is bad, with one example, another example, if we take hundreds and thousands of examples, I believe that your brain will connect the dots and it will figure out a difference between what is a good design, what is a bad design, right? What is a good product sense? What's good product sense? What's something built with good product sense? What is something built not with good product sense? What is good workflow? What is not a good workflow? Now, I think what we need to look for, if somebody is looking, especially for, say, mobile app development or web app development, most of the code part is solved by AI. AI can write majority of the code on its own. So what makes what will make one product stand out from other, especially in this world where anybody can come out of college, or if maybe in high school, or he or she will also be able to create a product, right? So someone with absolutely very little or almost no experience in computer science, computer programming, can also create a web-based product or even a mobile app. And this is going to be the world of abundance, where there's going to be lots and lots of applications that are created. Yeah, whether it's web products or mobile app products or what have you, lots and lots of them are going to be created. When you have so many of them, the bar to get noticed is even higher. So the quality products which the end user enjoys using, right? So the bar is even higher, because the end user has so many options that mediocre products are not going to survive. Only the truly exceptional products are the only ones that are going to get attention, or see light of the day, or survive. So how do you get your product to be exceptional? Because end user is not looking at the code, and most of the code is written by AI. So end user is looking at what is their experience using that platform, or using that application, or using that mobile app. So understanding the needs and wants, and and what will be something that the end user will appreciate, that becomes even more important than writing code. That is what product sense is all about, right? So that's why I have been repeatedly saying that taste and product sense takes priority for all this web application and mobile application building, because this was not something that a traditional developer would work on. This was something that was figured out by product managers and UI UX designers. And it's possible that the UI UX designers and product managers could be the new developers, and which is also happening in many cases. Many product developers are deciding to become AI first product builders. And so are some UI UX designers deciding to become product builders. But the existing developers, if they want to continue building web application, mobile applications, they all will also need to step up and have this understanding of product sense and good taste, because otherwise they will not be able to compete with the new people who are getting into the industry, and also will not be able to compete with existing product managers and UI UX designers. because if they are also doing the same coding using AI, right?
Would
But
you
then comes your
add?
question was that does the tradition, yeah, I think you also asked about, is the traditional computer science dead? No, traditional computer science is not dead. Mediocrity is dead. Traditional computer science is not dead because there are still areas where you will be better off writing code yourself than have the AI write the code for you, because the AI is biased. If it has seen a code is written certain way majority of the time, then it will force itself to write the code the same way all the time. And it may not always be the best way if you're trying to create something completely new, fast, break, and something where you need to have a breakthrough. So if somebody is working in a break in a like a foundational AI lab, right? They are still hiring people with exceptional coding skills. So the people who would have done competitive programming, they would have done, won computing Olympiads, because uh, they want to go beyond what is possible right now. They want to create something completely new. Same thing is going on with um, robot trading, high frequency trading, right? All these Citadel and Jane Street, they are also hiring people with exceptional coding skills. These are not skills that where you are just prompting. These are skills where you're writing code manually and writing optimized code. So does that mean that computer programming, for someone to get the highest package, uh, is it the prompting route, or is it the real classical computer science route? Typically, the real classical computer science route, as of right now, is fetching lot higher salaries than the prompting route, right? Even maybe somebody might turn out to be an exceptional product builder, which we haven't seen yet, which may come in the future. But as of right now, if we look at which people in, say, IIT Delhi are getting the highest package, these are people who can really write good optimized code, and they are getting hired in these foundational AI labs, and they're getting hired in these um, trading companies, right? Robot trading companies. So should people follow that route? Yeah, you should definitely follow that route if you are really good, because mediocre person is not the one hired by these companies. The bar to get into these companies is super high, right? They are looking at people who are at the top of the tier, like tip of the pyramid. If anybody is in that tip of the pyramid, they feel like they are better than 99.9% of the coders, or at least better than 99% of the coders, and if they want to pursue that computer science route, then they are going to be very, very well off, right? They don't need to do this AI based coding. They can continue to do the regular classical computer science. But if somebody is mediocre, then there are not going to be many mediocre jobs where they have to write the code manually, because in most of the regular work, AI is going to be taking over. And if there's a mediocre coder who's writing mediocre code, they will be better off using AI. If they're using AI, then what skills would they need? Product sense and taste.
Would you add consumer behavior or what your consumer actually needs to product sense and taste as well? Because I think that plays an important part.
Yeah, that becomes
All
part of product sense, right? So I mean, I'll give you an example. I recently decided I will make a um, like a flashcard based quick quiz feature in one of the platforms I was building. So basically, you upload a set of questions in it, and it makes it into flashcards. It shows you the question, it doesn't show you the answer, so that the student can do active recall. Okay, I'm seeing the question, I'm going to recall what the answer is, and I uh, click on the button, it will flip the card, and it's going to show me the answer, right? Sometimes they may do the same thing as a group of students. Group of students are told the same question. It becomes like a quiz, and one of the people is going to answer it, right? So they do these kind of quizzes in many of the science bowls and math bowls and so forth, right? So when I was building this platform, once I created this flippable question and answer uh, feature, I realized that it would be nice for it to also speak the question, because in many of the quizzes somebody has to read the question, right? And people get tired reading these questions, because and you are dependent on someone to take that role of reading the question. If there is a bunch of students who want to try it out on their own, then who's going to read the question? So it becomes, a responsibility for someone if we can automate it. So I told AI, just add this ability to write the question. So this is after I had thought about creating this, flashcard stuff. It was not a part of my original design, because I understood the end user will benefit from having that ability to speak it. And that idea didn't come to me originally. The idea came to me after I started using
Yeah.
using it and trying it out. And then I told it to write the functionality, and it did, and it was able to speak it. But then once it started speaking, I realized that it's speaking in a very robotic sound. It's like an, operating system based text to speech. It's very robotic, and people they will not enjoy it. They'll feel like a robot talking to them. It won't feel like a human being asking a question. They'll still be like, hey, can you read the question? Because it's just annoying to listen to the robot. But with AI models, you can have the text to speech be as good as a human.
Yeah.
So I asked AI itself, what's a good way to make it into a human? What model should I use? It suggested a model, and I said, okay, now implement that model. And now it made it such that it speaks it in a human sounding voice. Now, once I got the human sounding voice, oh, it looks pretty good. As I was trying it out, I accidentally hit the button twice for speak. The speak button that I had, which was speaking the question, I hit the button twice. What ended up happening, it started speaking, and as I clicked the button the second time, it started speaking again. Now I have two streams of audio going on at the same time. Like, oh, that cannot happen. If we have somebody who clicks on it twice, then there'll be two streams fighting with each other, and it's going to be annoying. And now you have to wait for both of them to end, and you would not be able to understand anything. So I told AI, hey, this is happening. It's if I click more than once, then it's multiple streams starting at the same time. Don't allow another click until the previous audio speaking is done. Bam, it started adding that feature. So what I'm trying to convey here is the same approach of thinking about it as a painter or a sculptor, that as you build it, if you have the product sense, you can continually improve it. This cycle of iteratively suggesting it improvements and it changing it, and you observing it and you're suggesting changes again, that is the new product building um, life cycle.
This does make me think about one question. So obviously AI is doing most of the work now. So if a single person can now take an idea and from concept and build it, so does this mean that the team gets smaller?
Yeah, absolutely. So if there were 10 people in a team before, now each person is taking up a small project to work on or a feature to work on. Now many of them can parallelly work on features and products at the same time. So this is going to be the world of abundance, right? Some companies will decide to have way more products than what they used to create before. And companies will say, oh, what do we do with so many products? We may not need so many people. Unfortunately, that's also happening, right? My hope is that it is the first, not the later. It is companies decide to build more products, and everybody who used to be a cog in a wheel can now take up a bigger responsibility of building something end to end. And you'll have that many products getting built with that much higher probability of one of the products becoming a blockbuster success. So increases the probability of the company to do quite well, which is the approach we have taken. We have lots of our colleagues building different products, because as you build more, it's just the numbers game, right? It's law of large numbers. The more options you have, the chances of any one of the products becoming successful is obviously higher. So we are hoping that companies will take that approach of training their staff to become these AI first product builders, so they can build a lot compared to what they used to build before. I will be upfront and honest, keeping the Indian fresher in mind. That too, computer science. There are lots of people in India doing computer science, lots and lots.
What would you say to a fresher who's just out of college and they've never been in the workforce, but obviously they don't have that much experience. So what's your message to them in this scenario?
Sure, yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah, so that's why I was saying there are lots of computer science graduates coming out of colleges in India. There are lots of people who are in computer science currently in colleges, and there are lots of others who are not in computer science, but their intention is to take up a job in computer science, right? If you add them all together, it's a humongously large number. But even in the previous era, when computer science people were getting hired based on their computer programming skills, most of these people did not have the skills to get a computer science job. They may have the intentions to take up a computer science job, but majority of them did not have the skills, real skills to take up a computer science job. Because 4-year degree you can pass by just passing by remembering the theoretical questions without you even having good programming expertise. People are passing 4 years with sometimes with even with good grades, but they still don't have good computer programming expertise. That means the vast majority of the people who are graduating from Indian colleges did not have the skills anyways, whether AI, even if the AI hadn't come, right? So this is actually such a opportunity for students from India, because learning computer programming is not easy. It takes a lot of effort and practice, which most of the students in India hadn't gone through, right? Now this is an opportunity for you to learn a new skill which everybody is going to be new at, and it's not as complicated to learn. Computer programming is a very complex skill to learn. It takes years and years of effort. So now this is a skill where you can use AI tools, you can understand, just by observing other applications around you, just by understanding customers around you, which would be people around you, you will be able to try out and build an application. It means the first one may not turn out to be the best, but as you build fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 10th, it will turn out, it will keep getting better. It's like somebody starts painting. That first painting is usually not that good, and as they keep building more and more, then they get that feedback from their own painting on what they did good, what they did bad, and that continuous feedback of them seeing their own painting makes them better and better as they keep making more. Similarly, anybody who tries to make an application as a AI first product builder, even if the first one doesn't turn out to be great, just try another one, and reach out to businesses in your area and offer them to build something for them, right? There are so many businesses in India and even abroad who don't even have a website. I am randomly getting calls from these high schoolers, young people in the US in the last couple of months, where they're saying, hey, we're just reaching out to local businesses in the area. If you do not have a website, we'll build one for you for less than $500 or $300, right? Small amount of money. So usually the websites used to be thousands of dollars, but now there are these young people who have realized that they can build something with maybe 5 or 6 prompts, and they can reach out to these companies and make a few $100s for it, right? So now they are taking it as an opportunity. If in the classical world they would not have been able to do it, even building a website with good look and feel would have taken weeks and weeks of effort, and it needed very high level of expertise. But considering now it has gotten easy, it has become a good opportunity for these high schoolers to get some extra cash. So similarly, now that the AI has come about, it is a good opportunity for young graduates in India. Majority of them, there are some who used to be exceptional, right? For them, they can continue to pursue the regular computer science, classical computer science path, because there are companies, like I said, Foundational AI Labs, and these companies like Citadel, Jane Street, who are looking for people who can really, really write good code. So I don't think this is the AI is a problem for Indian youth. It may actually turn out to be good for Indian youth. I mean, I think in outsourcing, like freelancing world, it is already making an impact. Earlier, when people used to freelance work to India, most of the time the work wasn't good because the quality of code used to be suboptimal, and people would say, I'm just going to get a prototype made in India, super cheap, because I don't really care about it working well, because I just want to get funding and just present it to an investor. And now they are sending work to India. They're saying, oh, the quality of code is good, because then the work that is being sent to India is also most of the code is written by AI. The work that is being sent to Poland or Ukraine, the code is written by AI. So it has normalized everything. The quality has become better overall in outsourcing that's being outsourced to India, while as other countries who are perceived to have better quality, they have also become the same. So it's not all bad. It can be actually good also.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, I would say. Yeah. Okay. let's go back a little bit. We talked about like how you should have product sense and taste if you want to be an AI first product builder. But something that is not talked about a lot is that none of the colleges or schools are teaching this to students right now. And what would you say they should know about these two things first, and if there are any courses or anything that you know of that teach these exact things?
Yeah, nobody is teaching this right now. Right, right. So I recently met one of the co-founders of Udemy. He has a different company now. He doesn't work at Udemy. I don't believe he was part of Udemy anymore, but he has a different company now. And he's also was talking about this new era of building requires product sense and taste. And he was also talking about there needs to be courses for it, and his company was working on it to create it in some way. And we at College.dev or also and YoungWonks are also creating similar programs with an understanding that if people can learn how to code by allowing them to code something simple, then based on that success, allowing them to code something a little bit harder, a little bit harder, a little bit harder. And if you have someone writing the code for say 10 times and you give them some problem, they will not be able to do it, right? Because your brain takes lots and lots of examples. It's like machine learning, right? You take lots and lots of examples, then your brain connects the dots, and then it does automatically figures out this pattern matching, and then it figures out what is the right way to approach a problem. Similarly, with good taste and good product sense, similarly, a course can be built, but it needs hundreds, if not thousands of examples, which need to be presented to a user, and they need to be asked, why do you think one is better than the other? And if their instinct was not right, it needs to be corrected, and then say, oh, how about now? Why do you think one is better than the other? And it will ideally work better if it's done in a larger group. So like the teacher is more like a conductor, and the people are discussing with each other why they think one is better than the other, because then they will learn from each other's instincts as well, right?
Like a
So
group
we are putting
discussion.
together such a course if people are interested. Yeah, like more like an MBA type group discussion. If people are looking to build this product sense and taste, we have a program coming up. They can reach out to us. Reach out to info@college.dev, and we will let you know when our next webinar is going to be. We'll explain it in more details, and then you can sign up for a course, and it'll go through it step by step. Right? It's not that it cannot be learned. It's just that so far people have been reluctant to learn this skill. I used to have developers, exceptional developers, who would make crappy UI, and they would proudly say, Vishal, I don't do UI, right? Because they felt UI was something that they didn't need to learn, because most of the money was in writing algorithmic code. And if they were good at writing algorithmic code, they should focus their energy on just writing algorithmic code, right? That reluctance to focus on the UI make them feel like I'm not good at UI. It's not that they were not good at UI. They never felt that they should become good at UI, right? So now the environment has changed. Now nobody can afford to say, I don't care about user experiences. I don't care about UI because someone else is going to do it for me. No. Then what are you going to do? Right? So because the code, being able to convert PST to MST to Alaska to time zone code, all of that complex code is now written by AI. I can just give a prompt and it'll just figure it out for me. But now the product builder is the one who understands what the end user is going to enjoy using. And you have to understand good taste, good UI, good workflows. So everybody who intends to be a builder has to focus on these. And if that mindset sets into people that, oh, this is important, and then there are programs like what we are presenting are available, and they approach these programs in an open mind and willingness to learn, it can be learned.
I think, like you mentioned, that emphasis on delivering a product which is, the experience that the user has is exceptional. Thinking holistically about the workflows and how they integrate with each other, optimizing it for users' convenience. Sometimes what you have is designs look good, but they not necessarily are practical. So even those are things that you people will have to start focusing on. Something might be a very beautiful button placed at a place which is not easily accessible. So on first impressions, it may look good, but when you start thinking about it a little, you might realize that there is still better, placement for this button and stuff like that. Another aspect that I think Vishal was talking about is there are areas where this works a little differently. So we've been trying it on, let's say, mobile app development and web development, and this it does it really well, and a lot of it on the interface can be handled. There are areas even in machine learning and stuff where it serves as a very good partner while you're coding, where the amounts of code you may be generating are not huge, but you will still require to be able to ideate and iterate multiple times before you get to something that's optimal. And that's a skill, again, that's something that people will be able to acquire when they adopt AI, in a way that is consistent and repeatedly using it in a way that is actually working on a holistic level rather than a very specific part of something.
Yeah, I mean, I think the people with good product sense will be in a lot of demand because they are the ones who will ensure that what they build is going to be something that is going to get noticed compared to other people who are building stuff. We are training our great UI UX designers to be AI first product builders because we realize that their product sense is going to greatly elevate the products that we build, right? And we are also utilizing their expertise to train our developers so that they can also come up to speed and understand how great product is built. And I think if somebody focuses on good taste and good product sense, and then they have the knowledge of how to use AI tools to build stuff, there will be demand for them. It may not be there now. It may be there 2, 3, 6 months down the line as more and more companies adopt this new approach of building products, but it will be there.
Yeah. And you'll see that the expectation from people, companies also will keep growing as and when the market, gets filled with better and better products. The newer models are able to do, more and more exceptional sort of design. So I think what ends up happening is in the past where they were sort of very focused and, manual coding, there would be certain things would be accepted because they work, right? Whereas now that level of acceptance for something that just works instead of something that is well designed, thoroughly optimal, the tolerance to accept that will be lesser and lesser, and then it will not be an option. Everybody would have to design at that level.
Yeah, and Suchin recently built the whole application for incubation centers in India. It took a lot of research first to understand what should be built. It's not that just you just write the prompt and it's done. Now the work is to figure out what will be the most optimal thing to build based on maybe in this case policies, regulations, and so forth, and then figuring out what will be the best way to give a great user experience to an end user. That's where the good taste comes in, and then start start with some idea of how it should build it, and then iteratively improve it till you get to the end result. And we recently built it. So every one of us is building products this way. One, to get the expertise of building it this way, and two, also to figure out how do we create a program for this next generation of builders so that we can give them the most optimal way to learn it, and then most optimal way to build products. I mean, first of all, in colleges in India, especially except for design colleges like say JJ or like that, we don't really focus on aesthetics, right? We don't focus on good taste, good design. But if our products are going to be competing with products from all around the world, because you're in India, even if you have a product in India, it's not competing with products only from India, especially in software, because there could be a competing product made in say Poland or US or any country for that matter. So that is going to be downloadable in India. That you can go to the App Store and download it, or that's going to be accessible in India. So products made in India are not only, consumers in India are not only have the option of products made in India. Consumers have an option of products made all around the world. So if you have to compete with products from all over the world, then the consumer is going to expect it to have great user experience, great aesthetics, great look and feel, right? So it is not optional in India to not have focus on aesthetics. I think this is something that I have been talking about for a while. It's just the culture as a society, we have to change the culture. And in colleges, that culture has to be changed. I mean, when I go to in my house or in my relative's house, whenever I go to India, I see doors and windows would have been painted, and some of the paint is on the hardware, right? I mean, it's very unusual in any other part of the world. It will be like painter will be fired if there was a paint got on the hardware of the door. But somehow, if our painter comes to our house and a little bit of a paint is here and there all over the hardware, and he'll be like, "What is wrong with you? Why are you bothered about it? It's no big deal." But it's not great aesthetics, is it? So if we have gotten used to ignoring these imperfections, when we stop ignoring imperfections all around you, then when we start building our products, then it reflects in the products that we build, right? So we should not tolerate imperfections, whether even in our personal lives or when colleges are teaching their kids, they should make them focus on attention to detail. Good enough is not good. Shoot for excellence. If you are building a network diagram, it has to look exceptionally good, right? If you are building a design, like a design for building, because you're in civil engineering, it has to be good with great margins, clarity, perfectly aligned. Don't settle for mediocrity, because if mediocrity seeps in, it is very difficult to change that culture. And now you are competing with products from all around the world. Mediocre products are not the ones that are going to be noticed. They are not going to get traction. And introduce some design type courses in your college. Introduce a course on product sense. It is essential. It's important. And I don't think any of the colleges in India, or maybe there are some who have it, but majority of them may not have it. They should introduce a course on product sense. They could collaborate with these colleges that focus on design, like architecture colleges. I'm sure there are extremely qualified people in architecture colleges who would have great sense of how to run a program like that. So if engineering colleges could partner with architecture colleges, they might be able to put together a really good program in a short amount of time. There may be existing programs in architecture colleges which they could adopt right away.
Yeah, I think from an administrator's point of view that you mentioned, I think one is that awareness among them to know what is the trend in the market and the industry would be very important. The curriculum and syllabus takes a while to change, so that cannot be relied upon to deliver the cutting edge knowledge to the students. So instead, I think they're, like Vishal mentioned, them seeking partnerships becomes very important, because those partnerships can also evolve as technology changes. So I think that would be most important, and especially in India, to be able to find those partners at this time with the industry, so that students can be, employment ready, and also kind of build in the resilience to cope with the future for them.
Would you say that you guys, both of you guys, would hire someone who has a great product sense but probably doesn't have the right set of technical skills? So would you hire them right now, even if they are freshers or experienced?
It all depends on whether you're exceptional or whether you're mediocre.
All
Mediocrity
right.
has no value anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because AI can create something which is better than mediocre already. So where does the mediocre fit? So you either have to be an exceptional programmer where you can write something which is beyond what AI can do, right? For very, very specific use cases, or you have to be able to utilize AI to the best of its ability to create something exceptional where this design and all of that understanding of products comes in, right? So we have to be exceptional either ways. The reason you have to be exceptional on the product building side is also because it's going to be the world of abundance. If there are very large number of applications created, your application has to stand out. And it will stand out only if it's exceptional. And only exceptional people can create exceptional stuff. So understanding the passion early on and allowing students to follow what their passion is will be a better strategy than making everybody into a computer science programmer just because your relative is one and they got a good job. Right? Because if you are passionate about something from young age, you will likely be exceptional. So let kids follow their passion. That's a better strategy.
I think as a career option, it will continue to remain, although the numbers will continue to diminish. There will be new opportunities where there may be companies who typically were utilizing services who may think about building products of their own right now. So students who are really good will be able to, capture those opportunities. But yeah, like Vishal said, you need to be that good to be able to make a mark in this industry going.
Yeah. I mean, like Suchindran has a very good point. Number of computer science opportunities is actually increasing. Number of people that are hiring computer science people is increasing. It just feels counterintuitive because there are lots of companies who are non-tech companies who felt they would benefit from building something which would be very customized for their workflow. But they were not large enough to have a computer science software team because they felt they could not afford to hire a team of 30 people or 20 people to build something which they could utilize in as their whole organization for them to utilize it. But now they have realized that they could just hire a couple of people and they might be able to build what they have always intended to build with just having a couple of people. So those kind of new opportunities are getting created. So, but again, it requires someone who can put together a product without needing a large team. So same thing, the AI first product builder is that person that who doesn't like, okay, I need a group of people who's going to tell me what the design is and I'm going to take the design, I'm just going to do the coding. No, that time is done. You have to understand the big picture of what needs to be built and run with it.
Thank you so much, guys. This is a wrap on today's episode. What we take away from this conversation is that you have to have product sense. You have to be, you can't be mediocre. You have to be exceptional in what you do. And obviously, subscribe, like, the comment on our video. Thank you so much.